Hello, my name is Ash. I'm the founder of Schemantra, the mother of all schema markups. Today, we're going to build a knowledge graph for a car and then semantically integrate it with a car dealership. Structured data have been the subject of my research for the past 8 months. So if you like to see more of these kind of workshops and learn the fundamentals of semantic web, please subscribe. So today we're gonna learn about the followings. We're gonna start by the basic terminologies, and then we're going to get from the basics out to a knowledge graph for a car as per schema.org, and then semantically integrated to a dealership. If you are a beginner, don't worry. All what you need to know to do this workshop is what is schema. Apart from that, everything else is going to be a good thing for you to learn. So let's start with the basic terminologies. What is an entity? An entity is a thing with a distinct and independent existence. So it can be a local business, it can be a product, a person, a location, a planet, or whatever it is, a thing. That's an entity. And the schema markup is a code that describes those entities for search engines. So instead of search engine going to your website and trying to figure out what is this all this text is talking about, it can simply take a small piece of code that describes your pages accurately. There are so many kinds of schema types. There is about almost 1,400 schema type, and each schema type has properties. So for example, this schema type is a local business, and this local business has all these properties that describe it. As you can see, the opening hours, the payment accepted, the price range, the name of the business, all these kind of properties. But those properties, there are two kinds of properties. There is a primitive type, and there is like a complex type or a referral type. The primitive type can be a text, or it can be a number, it can be a time, date, URL. So anything you add text here is a basic property. Opening hour, you can add the time. Payment accepted, you can add a text. And price range, you can add a number. But there are other properties that requires more information. For example, if we go to the employee of this local business, the employee is a person, which is another schema. So now you are connecting with another schema with this relationship. It's an employee. So the person's relationship to this local business is an employee. And if you click on the person, this is another schema type, and this type has other properties, and it's the same. There is a primitive properties, which is a text, and those other properties, which is other schemas that is connected to it. So, for example, this person is knows another person, makes an offer for something, uh, is related to another someone else. Let's find something here. Is a funder. Maybe this person is contributing to another organization, so is a funder of also another organization, which is something else. You can provide all the information here. So this is basically how those entities are described via schema markups and how these relationships are connected together. And semantic SEO is basically defining those entities and describing their relationship. Go in Schemantra and go to the graphical views and show you more, explain to you more about these kind of things. So the biggest categories of all schema is a thing. So the thing can be anything. You can call it a thing. So this thing can describe anything on the internet, but this is very general. You want to be more specific than a thing. So out of this thing, there comes out more specific, like specific things, like creative work or an action, place, organization, and inside the organization, there is more specific for local business, medical organization. And if you go inside the local business, you can find store, and inside the store, there is like a mobile phone store and men's clothing and liquor store and all of that. So you become more specific. The more you go this way, the more you become more specific about your things that you are describing. If you can't find the specific thing, you can go a little bit general and general all the way back to the thing. And the thing about all of this is that they inherit from each other. So all these properties, they inherit from the properties from the thing. And the organization inherits from the thing, and the local business inherits from the organization, and the store inherits from the local business and the organization and the thing. So they inherit their properties from each other, but they have more specific properties that defines them. So those are the most fundamental concepts about schema markups, and by explaining those, we can go ahead and start building our knowledge graph. Let's go back to the home page. To start, we can sign up. It's free. There is no payment or anything. We want to make this, let's go back here, and we want to make this schema description for a car. As you can see here, there is a car schema. It's connected to an offer schema, and this offer has a price, and it has a price currency, and it's offered by an organization. The car is also manufactured by the same organization, which is an indication that this is describing a factory. But in our case, we have a dealership, so the manufacturer is a different organization than the offered by organization. As you can see, the schema, the car schema is a specific type of a product, like more specific type of product. The product is a general type, and the car comes out of it. So let's start. We go here, you're gonna see an empty dashboard. Click Create New. To find the car schema, we can simply type the car here and then select it, search for it, then select it, and then click Submit. And we are in the properties for the car. We are describing the properties. If you want to read about the schema, if you don't understand what is the schema doing, you can click on the description, and you can see the description below. If you want to understand the schema properties, you can simply hover your mouse over the property, and it will describe it for you, so you know what you are filling. If you want to add more properties of the same thing, you can click plus, and if you want to take it out, you can click minus. Okay, and now every property has an ID. The ID is a label for this property. You can call it anything you want. I call it the same thing that I'm referring to, so I can get back to it. So I would call it a car with a capital C. And ideally, I should call it like hash a car, because this should be the ID of the HTML. But this is something different. We're not going to talk about it in this workshop. But I'm going to call my schema car just like that. You can call it whatever you want, like this gibberish, and it will work. And here, you fill your properties. So you don't have to fill all your properties. You only have to fill what's available. So the color, whatever is on the website or on your web page describing the car, you can just add it here. You don't want to add any extra information that doesn't represent your page, because that is now a discrepancy between your page and your schema, and you might be labeled as, the schema might be labeled as an untrusted source. So you gotta be careful and describe what actually is existing on the page. So we go back to the model. I'll call it a pathfinder, and I'm just going to click save. And now we have the schema of the car. I want to add an offer to it, so I go back to the car and I click plus. And then here I can add more properties to the car. I want to add an offer, so I go to here and offers, and there is an offer schema. I'll call it an offer. And I can describe all the information I want about my offer here, and then I click save and leave whatever I don't need, and then I will click save. Go back to the offer. There is a price and a price currency, so let's click to the offer and click plus and look for the price. And we find this eligible transaction volume. This is not the right relationship of this price specification schema. This is not the right one, so be careful about this when you choose a schema here, because you want to read what kind of relationship it has with the original schema you just created. So we look here, and there is a price specification, and this is the price specification schema we are looking for. Call it a price, and that's the price here. You can write it down or type a number. I would say $100 car. And a price currency is a US dollar, and I will just save it. Now we have a price, we have a price currency, and we want to make the offer by the organization. So go to the offer and click the plus here, or we can click the plus here. And I'm gonna look for offered by, and it's not the right one. This is the right one. Offered by an organization. It can be offered by a person or an organization. So this is the organization, and I'm going to call it org only. And you can describe your organization here, but for the sake of this workshop, I'm going to leave it empty. Save sub schema. And now we have an offer offered by. Oh, now I want to tell them the make of the car, the manufacturer. So I'll go back to the car. Now click the plus sign, and I will look for the manufacturer. This is the manufacturer, which is the organization. And I'll call it a manufacturer. And the manufacturer is Nissan. So you don't have to fill all the Nissan information here. Nissan is a very well-known entity over the internet. So it's self-explanatory, let's say, but to tell Google exactly about your company without having to fill all these properties, you can simply go to same as and find the Nissan company. I want to find the Nissan company. So this is the Nissan copy link address, and I'm gonna say like this, and go back here, find Nissan wiki, and I'm gonna add copy link address, and then we can. So this is a very proper description of the manufacturer because it's a very well-known entity and it's on Wikipedia. So we just added this here, click save. And actually, I want to go a further step and go to the car and click plus. Oh, no, I'm just going to go to the car, sorry for that, and click edit. And I'm going to add the same as also on the car. And PQ, same as. And we just say Nissan Wiki and we Pathfinder. Okay, and this is the Wikipedia page for Nissan Pathfinder. And then I will go here. And if there is a specific information about this page on Nissan, like about the model year and the brand, you can go ahead and add it here as well. But for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and continue. So to view the code, let's click on the view code button. Now this is all the code here. And as per schema.org description, we can see the graph visualization. It's a car and it has a manufacturer, which is like Nissan. And the car has an offer and there is a price on this offer. And this offer is provided by this organization. Let's copy the code and validate it. Let's go and validate this code. And it's exactly what we are describing, a car and has an offer, and the offer has a price, and it's offered by this organization. Remember, we have it offered by an organization. Let's remember this one. And there is a manufacturer, which is also another organization. Now, we want to semantically integrate this with a car dealership website. So if we go to here, I found this website with this description. And we want to add our code here, and we click play. Now we have 3 schemas on this page. And as a crawler, what are you going to conclude from this page? Is this page about the auto dealership, or is it about a car, or is it about a web page? You might like say, okay, self-explanatory, it's a car and there is an offer on it. But there are so many cases where there are so many different kind of schemas, and the main thing in the page is not identified. So for a better SEO and to describe a story for the search engine for semantic web, we want to make a relationship between all these 3 entities and describe them as a whole to represent what are we talking about in this page. So we are talking about a car. Okay, so this page is about a car, and this car has an offer and is provided by this auto dealership. So we want to semantically integrate all this in one page. Let's open the auto dealership schema. This is the auto dealership. It has opening hour specifications and department address and what so on. And the car, okay, is offered by an organization. And the organization, as we know now, the auto dealership is a specific type of organization. So if we tell the search engine that this car is offered by the organization, that is much better story. So to do that, we take the ID of this auto dealer. This is the ID here. We copy it. We go back to Schemantra. We go back to our code, and we go back to the organization that is making the offer, and we click edit, and we put the ID here. That's all what we do. We put the ID of the auto dealership in the organization that is providing the offer. And we click Save Schema. We go back to the car code and we click View Code and we copy the code. Go back here. Let's remove our code from the beginning. Okay. And then add the car code we just created. Now, the auto dealership is gone. Where it's gone? It's inside this car. Now look at this. There is a type, car, and there is an offer, and this offer has a price and it's offered by this auto dealership, which is also an organization. And this is all the information that is about the auto dealership. Now we want to integrate this web page to a car. This web page schema is created by Yoast. Yoast is a schema plugin for WordPress. It's a very good application. I recommend it for your WordPress. But Yoast give sometimes general kind of schemas for it provides a specific type for blogs and articles and all of that. But they don't have all specific types for everything. So they generally give a web page to all other pages, which is simply true. It's all a web page, and it talks about the web page. But if you want to make this web page more specific and tell Google what is this web page is talking about, you can connect it to the schema we created here. The way we do it is simply opening this web page, copying this ID. Let's copy the ID, and we go to Schemantra and we create the same type and we put the same ID, so we can add things to it. So let's go back here. Let's go back to our dashboard, create new, and we at the web page here. We click submit, and we give it the same ID. And then if we want to add more information about our web page, we can go ahead and add. Then we click save. And this web page, I want to tell Google that it's talking about the car. So I will click on the web page, add schema, and the main entity of the page, the main entity here. I want to add one of those schema. The more general schema I can add is a thing, which is also a car, because the thing is a more general description for a car. So I'll add a thing. And this thing, I will give it the same ID of the car that I have. So remember, we had this ID for our car with a capital C. So I'll give it the same ID. And I'm telling Google the main entity of this web page is about the car. And then saving schema. And then let's take this code about this web page. This is the code. And this is, we paste it here. And we click OK. Now it's all in one schema. All the information is telling a story to Google exactly what we want to describe. And we make a semantic relationship between all these entities, and we make it very specific to Google that, okay, this is a web page. This web page is part of this website, and this main entity of the web page is a car. And this car is black, Pathfinder, and it has a price, and it's offered by this auto dealership. And this is all the information about the auto dealership. And then the manufacturer, which is this organization, and we give it the same as. So this is a complete knowledge graph for your page to describe it for Google. We can do this dynamically to automatically describe any car that is on the page without having to change any of the information. But this is not the scope of this workshop. I'm just going to show you how to put this code on your website. So we copy the code, and we can go to Google Tag Manager, go to tags, and then click create new. And tag configuration, we go here and choose custom HTML. Custom HTML. And we paste our code here. And now we want to make a trigger for this code. So if we want this code to be triggered on all pages, we can click all pages. And then this code will go to all pages. But we know this is only one page that's describing a car. So we want to tell Google it's only on this specific page. So we click here, and then we click this plus sign. And then we click here again. And then we go to page view, some page view, and then choose the page URL you want. Page URL contains, and you can put the URL here, or you can put whatever distinguish your page that containing in your URL, and then Google will fire this schema on this specific page, and then I will just say a car or a Pathfinder. Okay, then we click. We call it a trigger, Pathfinder trigger. Oops, trigger, save, and then save, and we call it a car schema. Save. And then if we want to trigger this, we click submit. But I'm not gonna click submit because this is a Schemantra website, and I'm not even done with my SEO for this website. So please don't judge my website for its SEO. I'm still working on it. And yeah, you can now simply, it will be triggered on your page. One more thing I would like to add. Um, some people don't know, but like if you want to add an image, if you want to add an image for the car, so yeah, you want to add an image. So I'll show you how to add an image. So car for sale. Okay, we found a car here, just any car, you know. Um, okay, and you right click on the image and then copy image address. Just copy the image address and add it here. That's how you add an image to your schema, and then you save your schema, and then it's basically connected to your image. And that's all for today. If you like this and you want more videos about structured data and semantic web, I'll be happy to make more if I see like interaction and more subscriptions and likes. Otherwise, maybe it's not useful for you guys, and I it's not going to be like useful. So uh, maybe I will not make more. So please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.